The Imperial Gambit. High above the gilded clouds of Vrax Prime, inside the crystalline spires of the Imperial War Council, confidence radiated from every chitinous plate of the assembled generals. The Vraxian Empire had conquered 1,000 worlds, subjugated countless species, and dominated 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Today, they gathered to discuss their next target, a small blue planet in an insignificant star system on the outer edge of the Orion Arm. Admiral Selthor clicked his mandibles in amusement as he studied the holographic display of Earth. The 3-dimensional projection showed a primitive world with scattered cities, pollution-choked atmospheres, and what appeared to be rudimentary satellites orbiting at pathetically low altitudes. The Vraxians, with their matter phase ships and quantum weaponry, considered such technology equivalent to stone tools. "They call themselves humans," sneered Commander Vrak, his 4 eyes narrowing as he manipulated the display to show Earth's military capabilities. "They still use chemical propulsion. Their fastest ships take months to reach their nearest neighbor planet. They wage wars among themselves with projectile weapons and crude explosives." The council chamber filled with the clicking sound of Vraxian laughter. General Korthax, veteran of 50 planetary conquests, stood from his throne-like seat. His exoskeleton gleamed under the ethereal light as he addressed the assembly. "My fellow warriors, this will be the easiest conquest in our glorious history. We could take this planet with a single battle cruiser." But in the shadows of the chamber, Ambassador Keth remained silent. Unlike the warriors around her, she had spent years studying potential conquest targets, analyzing patterns and behaviors that others dismissed. Something about Earth troubled her, a nagging feeling that had grown stronger with each intercepted transmission, each observed behavior pattern. "Supreme Admiral," she finally spoke, her voice cutting through the celebratory atmosphere. "I must advise caution. The humans exhibit unusual behavioral patterns. They've known about us for decades, yet they've made no attempt at contact. They possess nuclear weapons but have refrained from using them on each other for nearly a century. These are not the actions of primitives." Zelthor waved a dismissive claw. "Ambassador, your paranoia does you credit, but these humans are clearly inferior. Look at their technology. They can barely leave their planet's gravity well." "That's precisely what concerns me," Keth pressed on. "They discovered radio astronomy generations ago. They must know about us, about other civilizations. Yet they remain silent. In all our conquests, have we ever encountered a species that deliberately chose silence?" The chamber fell quiet for a moment. General Korthax broke the silence with a harsh laugh. "Perhaps they're simply cowards, hiding in their little corner of space, hoping we won't notice them. Or perhaps," Keth countered, "they're not hiding at all. Perhaps they're waiting." Her words hung in the air like a challenge, but the War Council's decision had already been made. The invasion would proceed. 3 probe ships were dispatched to gather final intelligence before the main fleet arrived. As the ships departed Vrax Prime, their crews celebrated what they believed would be another glorious victory for the Empire. The probe ships entered the Sol system at sublight speeds, their stealth systems engaged. Captain Drex of the lead vessel, the Shadowclaw, monitored the approach with growing confidence. Earth's defenses appeared even more primitive up close. The humans had a handful of space stations, some communication satellites, and what looked like obsolete missile platforms. "Begin deep scans," Drex ordered. "I want a complete analysis of their military installations, power grids, and communication networks." As the Shadowclaw crept closer to Earth, its sensors detected something unexpected, or rather, they detected nothing at all. The planet that should have been broadcasting thousands of signals, generating massive electromagnetic noise from its cities and infrastructure, was eerily quiet. "Sir," the science officer reported, confusion evident in his voice, "I'm not detecting the expected levels of activity. It's as if they've gone dark." Before Drex could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. "Multiple contacts," the tactical officer shouted. "They're appearing out of nowhere." On the view screen, Space itself seemed to shimmer and tear as dozens of vessels materialized around the probe ships. These were not the primitive craft they had expected. Sleek, angular ships with no visible propulsion systems hung motionless in space, their dark hulls absorbing light like black holes. "Impossible," Drex exclaimed. "Our sensors showed nothing." Back on Vrax Prime, Ambassador Keth watched the telemetry feed with grim satisfaction. "I tried to warn you," she murmured as the first human transmission came through. Directed not at the probe ships, but at the Vraxian homeworld itself. The message was simple, delivered in perfect Vraxian. "Welcome to our trap." In that moment, as the probe ship's signals went dead, and the true nature of Earth's capabilities began to reveal itself, the Vraxian Empire realized they had made a terrible mistake. They had not found easy prey. They had walked into a carefully prepared ambush, orchestrated by a species that had spent decades studying them, learning their weaknesses, and preparing for this exact moment. The humans had not been silent out of fear or ignorance. They had been silent because they were hunting, and the Vraxian Empire had just become their prey. As emergency sessions convened across Vrax Prime, and the military leadership scrambled to understand what had happened, one fact became terrifyingly clear. Earth was not a primitive world struggling to reach the stars. It was a fortress, a trap designed specifically for empires foolish enough to underestimate humanity. And now, with their probe ships captured and their intentions exposed, the Vraxians faced a choice: retreat and admit defeat, or commit their full might to what was increasingly looking like a battle they might not win. The trap had been sprung, and there was no turning back. The Hidden Blade. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility that officially didn't exist, General Valeria Chen stood before a massive holographic display showing the positions of the captured Vraxian probe ships. Around her, hundreds of personnel worked at quantum-encrypted terminals, coordinating what would become known as humanity's greatest deception. "Phase 1 complete, General," reported Colonel Marcus Webb, her second in command. "The probe ships are secured in our dimensional pockets. Their crews are alive but completely cut off from their empire." Chen nodded, her weathered face betraying no emotion. For 30 years, she had overseen Project Phantom, Earth's answer to the alien threats they knew were coming. While the surface world continued its daily life, unaware of the cosmic dangers lurking among the stars, a select group of scientists, military personnel, and strategists had been preparing for this moment. "Initiate Phase 2, she ordered. "Let them see what we want them to see." Above Earth's atmosphere, the captured probe ships suddenly reappeared, broadcasting distress signals. But these signals were carefully crafted, showing exactly what humanity wanted the Vraxian Empire to believe: a planet with slightly more advanced technology than initially assessed, but still conquerable with sufficient force. On Vrax Prime, Supreme Admiral Xelthor studied the incoming data with growing anger. "So the humans have some tricks," he growled. "But tricks won't save them from the might of our fleet. Prepare the invasion force." Ambassador Keth made one final attempt to reason with the War Council. "Supreme Admiral, this is exactly what they want. Can't you see? They're baiting us." "Enough," Xelthor roared. "Your cowardice shames the Empire. We will crush these upstart humans and show the galaxy what happens to those who dare challenge Vraxian supremacy." The Imperial fleet, comprising over 200 warships, began its journey to Earth. Each vessel was a masterpiece of destruction, capable of reducing entire continents to ash. The Vraxians had never lost a major engagement, and they saw no reason why this would be different. Back on Earth, Chen watched as the alien armada approached. "They took the bait," she said quietly. "May God forgive us for what comes next." The Vraxian fleet dropped out of hyperspace just beyond Jupiter's orbit, their sensors immediately scanning for threats. What they found confused them. Earth appeared to have deployed its meager defenses in a standard formation, exactly what they would expect from a desperate, outmatched civilization. Pathetic, Commander Vrak sneered from the bridge of the flagship Worldbreaker. Begin the advance. Target their orbital platforms first, then their major cities. As the fleet moved past Mars, something unprecedented happened. Space itself seemed to ripple, and suddenly the Vraxian ships found themselves unable to engage their faster-than-light drives. A quantum barrier, invisible and impossible to detect until activated, had enclosed the entire solar system. "What is this?" Zelthor demanded, his composure cracking for the first time. The answer came as Earth's true defensive network revealed itself. What the Vraxians had dismissed as obsolete satellites and primitive space stations underwent a terrifying transformation. Panels shifted, weapons emerged, and suddenly the invaders found themselves surrounded by thousands of defense platforms, each one generations ahead of their own technology. But the real shock came when Earth's hidden fleet emerged from subspace pockets. These weren't the chemical rocket ships the Vraxians had expected. These were vessels that defy their understanding of physics, ships that seemed to bend space around them, armed with weapons that manipulated fundamental forces. From the bridge of Earth's flagship, the ESS Prometheus, Admiral Sarah Martinez opened a channel to the Vraxian fleet. "Attention Vraxian vessels. You are now within Earth's space, and you are trapped. Our quantum barrier prevents your escape. Surrender immediately, or face the consequences of your aggression." Zelthor's response was predictable. "We are the Vraxian Empire. We do not surrender to primitives." Martine sighed. She had hoped it wouldn't come to this. "Very well. You've made your choice." With a gesture, she activated the crown jewel of Earth's defenses, the reality anchor. Developed in secret by humanity's brightest minds, this device fundamentally altered the laws of physics within its area of effect. Suddenly, the Vraxians' advanced technology began to fail. Their shields flickered and died, their weapons refused to fire, and their ship's systems went haywire. "Impossible." Zelthor screamed as his mighty warship lost power. "This defies all known science." In the command center beneath the Pacific, General Chen allowed herself a grim smile. "Welcome to human science, Admiral. We don't just learn from the universe, we rewrite its rules." The battle, if it could be called that, was over in hours. The Vraxian fleet, stripped of their technological advantages, found themselves helpless against Earth's forces. Ship after ship surrendered, their crews bewildered by their sudden impotence. As the reality anchor continued its work, fundamentally altering the quantum structure of the trapped fleet, the Vraxians began to understand the true nature of their enemy. Humans hadn't just prepared for invasion. They had transformed their entire solar system into a trap specifically designed to neutralize advanced civilizations. The Empire had thought Earth was silent because it was weak. In truth, Earth was silent because it was preparing the perfect ambush. Every radio signal, every observable action had been carefully orchestrated to present exactly the image humanity wanted the galaxy to see. And now, with the mightiest fleet in the known galaxy helpless within their grasp, humanity prepared to reveal its ultimate purpose, not just to defend Earth, but to end the age of galactic empires forever. The perfect trap springs. Commander Jax of the Vraxian heavy cruiser Starbane watched in horror as his ship's systems failed one by one. The reality anchor's effect was spreading throughout the fleet, rendering their most advanced technologies useless. Around him, the bridge crew struggled with controls that no longer responded, weapons that refused to charge, and shields that flickered and died. "Sir," his science officer reported, her voice trembling, "our quantum cores are destabilizing. If this continues, we'll lose containment within the hour." Jack stared at the view screen, where Earth's impossible fleet surrounded them. These ships moved in ways that defied physics, appearing and disappearing at will, their weapons striking with pinpoint accuracy. But it wasn't the military might that terrified him. It was the realization of how thoroughly they had been deceived. "Get me a channel to the Supreme Admiral," Jax ordered, knowing it was likely futile. The humans had somehow jammed their quantum communications, isolating each ship in the fleet. On Earth, General Chen monitored the situation with clinical detachment. Beside her stood Dr. Elena Kovac, the architect of Project Phantom and humanity's foremost expert on xenotechnology. The reality anchor is performing beyond expectations, Kovac reported. Their quantum cores are failing exactly as predicted. Within 2 hours, their entire fleet will be dead in space. Chen nodded. Begin Phase 3. It's time to show them why Earth chose this path. Across the solar system, hidden installations activated. On Mars, massive transmitters rose from beneath the red sands. In the asteroid belt, camouflaged stations dropped their stealth fields. Even on distant Pluto, humanity's furthest outpost began broadcasting. The message they sent wasn't a demand for surrender or a declaration of victory. It was a historical record, a compilation of every aggressive act, every conquered world, every species exterminated by the Vraxian Empire over the past 10,000 years. Ambassador Keth, watching from her quarters aboard the crippled flagship, finally understood. They're not just defeating us, she whispered. They're putting us on trial. The broadcast reached every ship in the trapped fleet, every corner of the solar system, and through quantum relays humanity had secretly placed throughout the galaxy, every inhabited world. The crimes of the Vraxian Empire were laid bare for all to see. Supreme Admiral Xelfor, his pride shattered and his fleet helpless, finally opened communications with Earth. "What do you want?" he demanded, though his voice lacked its former authority. General Chen appeared on his view screen, her expression stern but not cruel. "Admiral Xelfor, what we want is simple. The age of galactic empires ends today. No more conquered worlds, no more subjugated species, no more extinction events in the name of expansion. You think you can impose your will on the galaxy?" Xelfor snarled, though the defiance rang hollow. "We don't need to impose anything," Chen replied. "We're offering a choice. The technology that defeated you here, the reality anchor, the dimensional pockets, the quantum barriers. We're prepared to share it with every species that has suffered under imperial rule." The implications hit Xelfor like a physical blow. If every world had these defenses, if every species could trap and neutralize technologically superior aggressors, "You're destroying the natural order," he protested weakly. "We're creating a new one," Chen corrected. "One where advancement comes through cooperation, not conquest. Where species are judged by their contributions, not their military might." As the reality anchor completed its work, rendering the Vraxian fleet permanently helpless, humanity revealed its final surprise. The quantum barrier around the solar system inverted, becoming not a prison but a gateway. Ships from dozens of species, former victims of the Vraxian Empire who had been secretly working with Earth, emerged from hyperspace. The Krell, the Thaxians, the Zorathi, all species that had been conquered or nearly exterminated by the Vraxians, now arrived as equals, their ships upgraded with human technology, their crews trained in the new defensive doctrines. Commander Jax, watching this alliance materialize, felt something he had never experienced before: humility. "They united the conquered against the conquerors," he murmured. "We never stood a chance." The surrender, when it came, was total. The Vraxian Empire, which had terrorized the galaxy for millennia, capitulated without firing another shot. Their crews were transferred to specially prepared facilities where they would be educated in the new galactic order. Their ships were studied, their technology adapted for peaceful purposes. Ambassador Keth was among the first to formally acknowledge humanity's victory. Standing before the United Earth Council, she spoke words that would echo through history. "We came as conquerors and leave as students. The humans have taught us that true strength lies not in domination, but in the wisdom to know when not to fight." In the months that followed, the galaxy transformed. Earth shared its defensive technologies freely, ensuring that no species could ever again dominate through military superiority alone. The Galactic Cooperative, founded on principles of mutual defense and shared advancement, replaced the old imperial systems. General Chen retired shortly after the victory, her life's work complete. In her final address, she explained why Earth had chosen such an elaborate trap. We could have revealed our strength openly, but that would have led to an arms race, to escalation, to the very cycle of violence we sought to end. Instead, we showed the galaxy that the mightiest empire could fall to patience, preparation, and unity. We proved that cooperation is stronger than conquest. The Vraxian Empire's fall marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new age of galactic civilization. Species that had lived in fear now worked together, sharing knowledge and resources. Wars became rare, then virtually non-existent, as the defensive technologies made aggression pointless. And Earth, the quiet world that had seemed so primitive, became the center of a new galactic order, not through conquest, but through the revolutionary idea that strength should be used to protect, not to dominate. Years later, when young Vraxians learned about their empire's defeat, they were taught not just about the military loss, but about the profound lesson humanity had taught the galaxy. That true civilization begins when we stop trying to conquer each other and start working together. The perfect trap had indeed been sprung, but its purpose was not destruction. It was transformation. And in that transformation, both the conquered and the conquerors found something they had never expected: hope for a better future.